So my dad is working on something. If you were here last time, you would know because we were on the wrong Facebook page. But here the sign says Kindness 101 will begin shortly, so probably shouldn't be too long. And while you are waiting, you can get a drink if you have to, and stuff like that. So yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you, sweetie.
Here he is.
Hi. Hi, everybody. Welcome to class. How you guys doing? I see folks are still showing up. What I'm going to do first, while we're waiting for everybody to get here, is I'm going to talk a little bit about your homework assignments. I am so impressed with what you guys have done so far. If you remember the first day of class, I asked you to think of a hero, one of these heroes that's helping out in the situation we have now with the coronavirus.
If you turned in your homework, it's possible you could be on the news.
You could be on the news on Friday. We're going to take some of the assignments and put them on TV, which is going to be really cool. But what I asked you to do is find a hero and send some kind of thank you. You could call them, you could send them a letter, and kids have been sending us what they've been up to. And I just want to share some of them with you while we're waiting here. Here is one that we got. This is a little boy who lives in Seattle, and he's writing a letter. He wrote a letter to his police officer neighbor, and he said, thank you for getting close to people at this time. And at the time, I'm talking about this coronavirus. Thank you for keeping us safe. You are the best. That was a really nice one. Here's another one we got. We've got about 300 of these things, which is really nice. This is from Evan. He lives in Toronto. He's 11 years old, and he has, and his sister Audrey wrote a letter to the local hospital, the doctors and nurses there. And his letter said, down here at the bottom, he says, I think you are a hero for saving lives and making people safe, because they know if they need medicine, they can get it from you. That was nice, right? Here's one near and dear to my heart. This is a girl, she's almost 10, she says. She wrote a thank you to one of the reporters she saw on TV. And she said, down here, nice letter. The end here, she said, a lot of people may not think or know this, but journalists are heroes. Please tell your camera people that they are brave too. That's nice.
Yeah.
I love this one.
Wait, what is it?
Let me see.
Oh yeah, she
See what
wrote
she did?
a note for
Yeah,
on the sidewalk.
Yeah, on the sidewalk,
Since
right?
she couldn't get close to him.
Well, she wrote
just
it.
left a note.
She wrote it right beneath the mailbox, and it simply says, "Dear mailman, thank you for the hard work." And can you imagine what that mailman is going to think when he shows up and he sees that? It's going to be the greatest thing. These kids are making a real difference, in people's lives. This is Tyler in Mansfield, Texas. He wrote a note, and he stuck this note on the back door of the Kroger grocery store. It was to the delivery man. And it said, in part, I appreciate that you're still going out and driving your truck, because all of us are sitting on our butts watching TV eating Cheerios. No, Cheetos, he said. Even better, Cheetos. Once again, thank you for everything you do. And we're out of Cheetos, so I hope that guy keeps his job, keeps driving that truck. And here's a really good one. One more I want to show you, and then we'll start class. This is Peyton. She wrote a thank you to her teacher. And she said, got it right here. Down here, this part that I circled is my favorite part. She says, I miss you, and I don't like homeschool. Can you teach my mom how to be a better teacher? So I'm sure a lot of kids feel that way, and a lot of probably.
A lot of you probably feel that way.
We do, yeah, we do, exactly. Okay, so let's start with class. First of all, if you want to send in your homework, we got this. You can hold that, Meryl. You can send it to ontheroad@cbsnews.com. Right there. If you have a thank you to somebody that you want to send in to us, and like Meryl said, we're going to show some of them on the news on Friday night on the CBS Evening News with Nora O'Donnell. So just want to let you know that. Okay, so let's see. If you want to send in comments, if you are on the CBS Evening News Facebook page, that's the one place where you have to be if you want to send comments, and we'll read some of your comments later. Bless you. Good job with that. Yeah, it's the way you do it. Nice job. Also have my other helpers here. I have Emmett and George, and they're going to be taking your comments, and they will we'll read some of them later. George is over there. He's at the computer right now. All right, and let's look at our syllabus. Just to bring folks up to date on where we are. Monday we talked about character. Yesterday we talked about empathy.
Today we're talking about friendship.
Friendship. That's the theme of today's. I've got it. Yeah, friendship. Yeah. Very clever. Meryl made that sign. So we're going to talk about friendship today. We're going to talk about how to be a good friend and how to keep your friends too, which is
and
just
listening.
Listening. We're going to talk about listening. You're actually right. And I'm going to start today's class by showing one of my favorite stories ever about friends. Take a look at this one.
When elephants retire, many pack their derms for the elephant sanctuary in Tennessee. They arrive here one by one, but stay here two by two.
Every elephant that comes here searches out someone that she then spends most all of her time with. What are you doing?
Sanctuary co-founder Carol Buckley says it's like best girlfriends.
It's just like us, somebody that they relate to, they have something in common with. Oh, hello, how are you?
Debbie has Ronnie.
Best buds, these two.
Misty can't live without Dolores. And perhaps the closest friends of all.
Tara and Bella, of course.
There's no other elephant around here? That's Tara. Just these two. And this is Bella.
This is her friend, and her friend just happens to be a dog and not an elephant.
That's hilarious. Bella is one of more than a dozen stray dogs that have found a home at the sanctuary. Most want nothing to do with the elephants and vice versa. But not this odd couple. They are absolutely inseparable.
When it's time to eat, they both eat together, they drink together, they sleep together, they play together.
Tara and Bella have been close for years, but no one really knew how close they were until recently. A few months ago, Bella suffered a spinal cord injury. She couldn't move her legs, couldn't even wag her tail. For 3 weeks, the dog lay motionless up in the sanctuary office. And for 3 weeks, the elephant held vigil. 2,700 acres to roam free, and Tara just stood in the corner.
To me, it really was she was concerned about her friend.
Then one day, co-founder Scott Blake carried Bella onto the balcony so she and Tara could at least see each other.
And Bella's tail started wagging, and we had no choice but to bring Bella down to see Tara.
They visited like this every day till Bella could walk. Wow. Today, their love and trust is stronger than ever. Bella even lets Tara pet her tummy with her foot. They harbor no fears, no secrets, no prejudices. Just two living creatures who somehow manage to look past their immense differences. If they can do it, what's our excuse?
I think sometimes we think we have to be exactly like someone to be their friend. We have to have everything in common, but
we don't.
We don't. She's right. You don't have to be exactly alike. In fact, the very first friends I ever had, they were imaginary friends. I had 2 of them, and they were very different. I asked Meryl to draw pictures of what my friends looked like. One was named Cridey. She drew that. That's kind of how she imagined Cridey looking. And then my other friend was the Man. So we had Cridey and the Man. Those were my 2 imaginary friends. Now Cridey, he was the nice one.
And the Man sometimes he could be funny.
Right. He wasn't mean. He wasn't mean.
He was not mean. He was sort of like a joker.
He was like a joker, a practical joker. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
But what's interesting, these 2 were nothing alike, my 2 imaginary friends. But the three of us were like the three amigos: Steve, Cridey, and the man. I know it sounds like a bad 70s police drama, but but that's who we were. And we palled around before I really had any human friends. And as I look back on it now, I thought that was kind of nice because, you know, you had Cridey, you know, he was great. He was always perfect. The man, if some cookies disappeared out of the cookie jar, it was probably the man. That's the kind of thing.
And he still has them today.
He is, yes, the man is back now that Meryl's here in the house. The Cridey and the man are back after 50 years. But the point I'm trying to make through all this is that that just because we weren't exactly alike doesn't mean we couldn't be friends. And I think that's a great lesson. And I have a story I want to show you now about two friends that aren't exactly alike.
But they think they're twins.
Exactly.
Think they're twins.
Exactly. Watch this one.
Miami preschoolers Gia Sarnicola and Zuri Copeland say they're not best friends.
I know.
As we first reported a couple years ago, they say they're closer than friends, closer than mere sisters even. In fact, Gia and Zuri truly believe they're twins.
Oh, yeah.
Ashley and Valencia are their moms.
They will tell you that they are twins, and they have a long list of reasons why to back it up.
To them, what makes a twin?
Similarities.
Look, come here.
For example, the girls say their birthdays are practically the same day, and the obvious physical similarities.
So what am I looking at here?
The same height.
Oh, because you're the same height.
Clearly twins, which is why they also insist on matching outfits whenever possible. So far, Ashley and Valencia have indulged them, but they also recognize there is some bitter to this sweet.
You know, you're happy for, you know, for a few seconds, and then you become sad because they have to grow up. And then society takes over.
Indeed, society already tried to take over.
Zuri and Gia were at a birthday party when an older kid told them they couldn't be twins because they don't have the same skin color. Gia broke down, but through her tears, she got out this rebuttal. She said, "You don't know what you're talking about. We're twins because we share the same soul."
I just get chill bumps.
So,
I was just like thrown by just that word.
Yeah.
obviously, what Gia was trying to say is that at our core, we are one. Since this story first aired in 2017, America hasn't always followed their lead, but it's important to remember that while all that was going on, so was this. Today, in their minds, they are still twins. Of course, they have their moments, like when Zuri accused Gia of having a boyfriend.
No, why did you say that to me? What did you do?
That didn't go over well at all. But by and large, they are as close as ever, and still an example, just waiting to be followed.
We have a lot to learn, and we can learn from children.
In fact, the moms say they already have.
For sure.
Yeah.
We've never talked so much on the phone.
Yeah.
And that's really what the twins want for all of us, to push back against the cynics
Some girls that we're not twins, and we are.
and move on to the more important things in life.
You know what we're gonna get today?
What?
We're gonna get ice cream!
Steve Hartman.
And you don't.
Oh, on the road without ice cream in Miami.
So, I never did get my ice cream. But I did get a valuable lesson about friendship. Friendships are easy when things are great. But when they're challenged and stressed, like when that kid said at that birthday party, "You guys aren't twins," you know, that's
Because of the color of their skin.
right, exactly. You know, when things like that happen, that's when you need courage, and you need to be supportive of your friend, and you need to be caring. Making friends is sometimes the easy part. Sorry, technical problem. It happened again, didn't it, Meryl? I don't know what's going on. So anyway, we're back. I know it's going to take you guys a little while to find us, right? So I don't know what's going wrong, Meryl. Do you have any theories on what's going wrong? It's
No.
just like this isn't a TV studio, right?
No.
I mean, this is just
Of course
our
not.
it's just our office. When sometimes things don't go as you planned, but the point is you can't get upset about it because you'd lose friends if you got upset about it. One good way to keep friends is not get upset when things go wrong. I think people are finding us again because I'm seeing little thumbs up and little smiles going by, so I think that's a good sign. Really I didn't want you guys to have to jump through all these hoops to find us, but slowly people are coming back into our classroom. Imagine you've got like thousands of people in your classroom, and then all of a sudden you say, everybody out of the room! And then you got to get 6,000 people, 10,000 people, 100,000 people back in your room. It takes a little while.
Yeah.
So anyway, what were we talking about? Friendship, right? Yes. And how to keep friends, right?
Friendship.
Yes, it's right. It's Wednesday, so we're talking about friendship. Okay, so we're talking about the things that make a good friend and how you keep a good friend and honesty, listening. Yeah, listening. That's a very good point. One thing, a good way to keep friends is to listen, because people like folks who listen to them. They don't like people who talk to them so much. Like right now I'm doing all the talking and you really can't say anything. But if I went like, tell me about your day.
I would tell you about my day.
And how would that make you feel?
Happy because you're listening.
Right. But if I just talked about myself all the time,
You're like, oh, my day went well. I had a great day, and it never ended.
Yeah, how would you feel?
Sad because nobody was listening to me.
Right. So listening is a really important part of maintaining good friendships, right?
There's also other things that maintain a good friendship, but listening is probably the main thing.
Okay, I'll buy that. That sounds good to me. All right. So we've given you some advice for maintaining good friendships. Take that advice and it will last a lifetime or maybe longer. I want to show you one more story.
Down screen. There it is.
Just outside Greensboro, North Carolina,
Go.
the Bishop McGinnis boys basketball team is coming off what may be
Good shot.
the most remarkable game in school history.
I still can't believe that even happened.
I felt like there was no one who could stop us. I will remember this game for the rest of my life.
The game was against their arch rivals, Mount Airy High School. But to fully appreciate what happened here, you first need to know how Coach Josh Thompson prepared them for this night. It all started a few days earlier with an old ball and a gold Sharpie. Coach Thompson told each player to pick someone to dedicate the game to. Could be an uncle, grandpa. One kid picked his parents. They all enjoyed the exercise. But safe to say, no one took it more seriously than junior guard Spencer Wilson. He picked his friend, Josh Rominger.
Josh's passion for life just really drew me towards him.
Spencer and Josh were two great friends with one lousy thing in common. They both had cancer. The difference was Spencer beat his, and Josh didn't. He died 9 months ago.
His joy illuminated the room, and it was always apparent to me that he was special.
Before the game, Spencer wrote a letter to Josh's mom, explaining what they were doing and why he would be playing for Josh.
Just wanted to let you know the impact your son has on my life to this day. I will never forget him. Play for Josh.
I read it and cried.
Josh's mom, Dina Rominger.
They just had that bond. Nobody else knew how Josh felt except for Spencer.
Spencer says he still thinks about Josh every day. That's why this opportunity meant so much to him.
During the timeouts when we touched the ball, I found where I wrote Josh, and I looked for that and
Put your hand on it?
put my hand on it every single time.
Thought of him?
Yes. So, it meant a whole lot to me.
Which brings us to the end of that game. With 2 seconds left on the clock, Bishop down by a point, and their rivals at the free throw line, Bishop needed a miracle. And some say that's exactly what they got.
Rebound comes down to Gardner. Into the head to Wilson. He's going to line it up from 3-quarter court. That's got a shot. It's good! Spencer Wilson from 50 feet moves the game for the Phillies.
In the
official record book, Spencer Wilson will get credit for that remarkable Hail Mary. But the boys here at Bishop believe Spencer's friend Josh deserves at least an assist. And no matter what you believe, you've got to score one for friendship. Steve Hartman, On the Road, near Greensboro.
No one likes going through a tough time, but if you have to go through a tough time, it's always best to have a good friend with you. And I know a lot of us are going through tough times. We're out of school. We don't want to be out of school. But this is a great time to have a close friend. Do you guys have close friends that you're staying in touch with since you've been out of school? Does it help when you can talk to them? Maybe you're connecting over the computer like we are. It just kind of makes things better. When things get rough, that's when it's best to have a good close friend. Make sure you're doing a good job maintaining your friendships. Okay. Let's see, how about some comments? I know you guys have been writing in. Emmett just handed me. Who is your best friend? Not family. So I can't pick any of you guys. My best friend is actually my wife. Her name's Andrea. She's, what's that? It's family, I know. But I still have to say it. It's just the way the world is. My best friend that's not I have two really good friends. One is named Nicholas Diambra, and he lives in Los Angeles, and he's been my friend for a long, long time. And the other really good friend I have is Bob Kekamis, and he's the cameraman that shot every one of these stories you've seen so far. We're on the road all the time, and we're traveling together. And it's really, it makes life so great when the person you work with is also one of your best friends. So those are my two best friends. Three if you count my wife. How do you find all these stories? So there's another great friend. My producer, Roxanne Feitel, is the person who finds all these stories. That's her job. She scours the internet and looks through local papers and websites, and she finds just stories about tremendous Americans doing amazing things. And that's how we're able to bring them to you every Friday and in this class as well. Okay, got one final story to show, and this is the one I really want you to remember. I want this one to stick with you when you go back to school, and you are going to go back to school. And when that happens, I want you to keep this story in mind.
During last month's assembly at Kittredge Elementary in North Andover, Massachusetts, the school honored 3 former students for their contribution to Kittredge. The former students are Alex Gamble, Kira Brown, and Celia DeSalvo. They all just graduated from high school, but the present they left behind when they were here is still all anyone can talk about.
The kids started working on this gift unwittingly. It was 10 years ago. They were in 2nd grade and out here on the playground during recess when one of them saw this little rock, or what looked like a little rock, sticking up out of the ground.
So we kind of thought, we were like, oh, we should just we found some sticks. We're like, oh, let's just dig this out of the ground.
They were out there every recess.
Richard Cushing was principal during much of the excavation.
And I have to tell you, their hearts were broken when the first frost appeared, because they had to stop.
But year after year, they returned to the project, digging mostly with sticks and plastic spoons they got from the cafeteria. The kids dug down through 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 4th, and 5th, until finally, just before moving on to middle school, they finished. The principal brought in heavy equipment to lift it out of the hole for them. That was 2008. And now, these 3 are like rock stars around here.
It was just in the ground, sticking out a little bit.
Partly because of the accomplishment itself.
Try digging out something like that with just a plastic spoon.
But mostly for what the rock has become.
It's evolved into something that we never could have imagined.
Today, some kids say this rock has the magical power of making friends.
It's a beacon to some of the students out there who get picked on.
And they go and sit on the rock, and by the end of recess, someone will go sit with them.
I waited there, and then eventually some kids came, and that changed my life forever.
Walter Wanyuweke is a firm believer in the power of the rock.
When I made those friends, it felt magical. I thought I would just sit there alone all recess,
then friends came by. I never thought that would happen.
This is an amazing rock.
It is.
You'll never forget that rock?
No. Not as long as I live.
When those three started digging, they say they used to wonder if one day they would eventually uncover a buried treasure of infinite value. And now we know. They did. Steve Hartman, On the Road, in North Andover, Massachusetts.
As I said, that's the story I want you to remember when you go back to school. Why? Do I want you to go get a plastic spoon, start digging at a rock in your playground? No. I want you to be the rock. I want you to be the place that kids can go when they feel down or lonely. I want you to be open to new friendships at all times. Your superhero name could be the anti-bully, because you'd be the opposite of what bullies do. You'd welcome people. You would never exclude people. You won't make fun. You'll be the rock that people can depend on. That's my wish. So that's our class for today. For any teachers out there who want to use these stories when school resumes as part of your character education, we have a little community. There's a Facebook page called On the Road for Educators. So I would encourage you to sign up for that. We're trying to get a little community going. And you can always find my stories every Friday night on the CBS Evening News with Nora O'Donnell. So we've got one more class tomorrow, hopefully fewer technical difficulties, but don't plan on it. and tomorrow is about, what's tomorrow about? A huge altruism. We got to figure out what that is by tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.